All right, today we're diving into a book that has genuinely changed millions of lives. Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. And its core message is, well, it's both shockingly simple and totally radical. It all starts with a question.
I mean, think about it. We're always told our mind is our best tool. But what if that constant voice in your head, the one that never, ever shuts up, what if that's actually the main source of all our stress? And what if all that anxiety about the future and all that regret about the past, what if they're not even real? What if they're just ghosts that we keep alive with our own thoughts? This idea leads us to the absolute core thesis of the entire book. That's it. Right here, right now, is the only thing that's real. The past, that's just a collection of memories in your head. And the future, that's just a projection, a story you're telling yourself. The only thing you ever truly have is this very moment. So why do we spend almost our entire lives everywhere else but here? Well, to figure that out, we have to look at the main culprit, the mind itself. And I'm not talking about the brilliant part that solves problems. I'm talking about that compulsive, nonstop narrator inside our own heads. Tolle asks this one simple question, and it just cracks the whole illusion wide open. If you can watch your own thoughts, if you can be aware of them, then who are you? You can't be the thought if you're the one watching it. This suggests there's a deeper self, a silent witness behind all that mental noise. And Tolle gives this voice a name. He calls it the thinker. You know the one. It's the voice that replays old arguments in the shower, worries about what someone thinks of you, and constantly compares your life to everyone else's. For most of us, we think that voice is us. So just recognizing that thinker is the first huge step. But the next one, this is the one that sets you free. It's fully realizing that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. So you've got these two things going on. On one side, you have the thinker. It's all chatter, constantly jumping from the past to the future, building this whole story of me. But on the other side, you have the awareness. It's totally silent. It's just here, now. The thinker creates a story. The awareness simply is. And this is the absolute key takeaway. Your true self isn't that noisy roommate living in your head. Your true self is the quiet, spacious presence that can hear that roommate freaking out. The second you realize this, even for a split second, everything starts to change. But okay, it's not just random thoughts, right? What about those really deep, painful emotions that just seem to take us over completely? Well, for that, we have to face the baggage we've been carrying around from our past. Tolle has a name for this too, the pain body. It's basically all the old, unresolved emotional pain from your entire life just kind of living inside you like a dormant volcano. You ever have a massive overreaction to something tiny? Like someone makes a small comment and you just explode? Yep, that's probably your pain body getting triggered. See, the pain body loves more pain. It feeds on it. That's why it craves drama and negativity and conflict. That's its food. It'll hijack your thoughts to create more suffering. But it has a fatal weakness. It literally cannot survive when you shine the light of your conscious awareness directly on it. And here's exactly how you do that. It's a tiny shift in how you talk to yourself, but it's incredibly powerful. So instead of completely identifying with the feeling and saying, I am angry, you take a step back. You just observe and you notice, there is anger arising inside me. Suddenly, the emotion isn't you anymore. It's just something happening in you. And once you can see it, it no longer controls you. So we've looked at the overthinking mind and this emotional pain body. And what do they both have in common? They get all their power from dragging us out of the present moment, which brings us, finally, to the real source of our freedom. Now, Tolle makes a really important distinction. There's clock time, which is practical. We need it to schedule meetings, to plan our day. That's totally fine. The real problem is psychological time. That's our obsessive, emotional attachment to the past and the future. And that is where basically all of our suffering comes from. So let's just try something right now. Just ask yourself this question and be really honest. I'm not talking about what might happen tomorrow or what happened last week. I mean right now, in this exact second, as you take your next breath, what problem do you actually have? And the answer almost always is nothing. You don't have a problem. In the now, problems don't exist. There are only situations you can deal with or accept or leave. The problem is just a story your mind creates with psychological time. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually do this? The beautiful thing is how simple it is.
This isn't about achieving some enlightened state in the future. It's just about tapping into what's already here. So here's where you start. Step 1. Just start noticing that voice in your head. Treat it like you're listening to a radio playing softly in the background. Step 2. Don't judge the thoughts or try to fight them. Just let them pass by like clouds in the sky. And step 3. As you just watch, you'll start to feel something else. A kind of deep stillness underneath all that noise. That stillness, that's you. That's the now. And that really brings us to the final question to leave you with. If that whole story of you, all your past mistakes, all your future worries, your entire self-image, if that's all just an illusion created by your mind, then who are you when you let all of that go and just exist right here, right now? All right, let's jump right in. We're going to explore a really powerful idea here. What if the source of your inner turmoil, all that stress and anxiety, isn't actually what happens to you, but your mind's constant resistance to it? And even more important, we're going to uncover a surprisingly simple way for you to tap in to a state of deep stillness right now. So, let me start with a question, and I bet you know the answer. Have you ever just noticed that little voice in your head? The one that's always judging, labeling things, or just straight up complaining about reality? For a lot of us, that's like a constant background track to our lives, and it's the very first clue to a much deeper pattern that's running the show. And yeah, that mental chatter, that's exactly what we're going to break down first. Think of this as diagnosing a universal human thing, this kind of low-grade state of inner conflict that's always humming just beneath the surface. And it all starts with a part of our mind that we call the ego. Now, the way we're talking about the ego here is really interesting. It's not about being arrogant or having a big head. It's that part of our identity that is totally obsessed with time. It survives by replaying the past, all our stories, all our dramas, and by constantly projecting into the future. Our goals, our worries, our ambitions. The one place it absolutely refuses to live is right here, in the present moment. And this is what that resistance actually sounds like in your head. These are pretty much the ego's greatest hits, right? This shouldn't be happening. That's a complete rejection of what is. This is unfair. That's just a judgment call against reality itself. And then there's the all-time classic, I'll be happy when. That's the ego's favorite game, always promising peace is somewhere else, somewhere in the future, literally anywhere but right here, right now. So let's connect the dots here, because this constant low-level resistance, it isn't just harmless background noise. It is, and this is the key, the direct cause of our inner turmoil. It's the root of our suffering. This comparison makes it so clear. On one side, you've just got events, the stuff that happens. You're stuck in traffic, you get some bad news, whatever it is. These are just neutral facts. But on the other side, you have your resistance to those facts, that inner no, that internal fight against what's already happening. That is where all the suffering gets created. So this is really the bottom line. It's one of the most game-changing insights you can have. It's not the situation itself, but our internal reaction to the situation that creates our pain. I mean, once you really, truly get that, everything starts to shift. Okay, but when people hear the word acceptance, they often think it means giving up or just letting people walk all over you. And that is a huge misunderstanding. Acceptance isn't being passive. It's actually a really powerful, clear-eyed look at the facts. It's just acknowledging what's true in this moment. It's looking at a situation and saying, okay, this is what is. And from there, the logic is actually incredibly simple and profound. When you drop that internal argument with reality, the inner conflict just dissolves. And what's left when that conflict is gone? Peace. It's not something you have to build or create. It's what's already there, just waiting underneath all the noise. So, if resistance is the poison, what's the antidote? Well, it's a state called presence. This is the practical solution to the mind's addiction to resisting and controlling everything. And the best part is, it's a state of being that you can access directly. I absolutely love this definition. Alert stillness. See, it's not some sleepy, zoned-out trance. It's the complete opposite. Your awareness is sharp. It's awake. It's vibrant. It's a fundamental shift from being lost in the noise of your thinking to being grounded in a deeper sense of just being. Just think about this for a second. Have you ever had one of those moments where you were so completely lost in something, maybe a piece of music, a spectacular sunset, or even just a really intense project, that you kind of forgot yourself? That inner critic went silent, time seemed to disappear, and you were just there. Well, that's it. That state you've already experienced, maybe without even having a name for it, that's presence. It's not some mystical, far-off goal you have to strive for. It's a totally natural part of being human that we usually just stumble into by accident. And when you're in that state, these are the telltale signs. That compulsive thinking machine in your head finally quiets down, but your awareness, your consciousness, becomes incredibly sharp and clear. There's this feeling of vibrancy, of being intensely alive in this very moment. You've shifted from analyzing life to actually feeling it.
Okay, so we know what presence is, but what about the how? How do we actually access this state on purpose, especially when we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Well, the source material gives us an incredibly simple and direct doorway: your own body. And here is exactly why your body is the perfect tool for this. Think about it. Your mind is basically a time machine. It's always zipping back to memories in the past or flying forward to worries about the future. But your body? Your body only knows one time, right now. It is physically incapable of being anywhere else. It is your ultimate anchor to the present moment. So here's a little exercise you can try with me right now. Just bring your attention into your hands. And don't just think about your hands. Try to feel them from the inside. Can you sense a subtle tingling or a warmth, a quiet hum of aliveness? That's the inner energy field of your body. Just let your attention rest right there.
Now, here's the really cool part. When you do this, you're not actually trying to force your thoughts to stop. You're just gently redirecting the spotlight of your attention away from the chattering mind and into the simple sensation of the body. And what happens? Thinking just naturally starts to slow down, all by itself. And this quote just captures it perfectly. That simple, tangible feeling of aliveness inside you becomes a doorway. It's a portal out of the noisy, time-obsessed mind and into the quiet stillness and peace that is always available in the present moment. So let's pull all of this together, because this isn't just about feeling calm and blissed out. This inner state of acceptance actually becomes the foundation for taking truly effective and powerful action out in the real world. This really lays out the whole journey for us. You start with resistance, right? Which just creates inner conflict and burns up all your energy. But then you shift to acceptance. You just see the situation for what it is, without all the judgment. From that acceptance, a whole new level of clarity emerges. And it's from that place of clarity and peace that powerful, intelligent action becomes possible. So we'll leave you with this question to carry with you. The next time you find yourself in a tough situation, instead of immediately fighting it, just pause and ask yourself, what powerful new action becomes possible? What new solutions might appear if I first just accept what is?
Have you ever just stopped and listened to that constant voice in your head? The one that's always narrating, judging, and worrying about pretty much everything. Well, what if that voice isn't really you? And what if, just on the other side of all that mental noise, there's a deep sense of peace just waiting? That's exactly what we're going to dive into.
So let's just start with this one powerful, kind of mind-bending question. What if that non-stop commentator in your mind isn't actually who you are? What if you're the one who's listening to it all? The silent awareness in the background? That one idea right there is the key to everything we're about to explore.
All right, so where does all that inner noise even come from? Well, it comes from what many call the ego, basically a false self that our mind creates through constant thinking. And that ego has a sidekick, the pain body. Think of it as a collection of all your old emotional baggage that just kind of hangs out inside you.
And the thing is, the ego loves to keep us stuck in a loop. It all starts with the constant thinking, right? That thinking then triggers emotional reactions, often waking up that old pain body. So then we go looking for validation from other people to feel okay, and before we know it, we're right back to reliving the same old hurts and stories. Sound familiar at all?
Now, all this inner turmoil, it doesn't just stay inside, it spills out everywhere, especially into one of the most important parts of our lives, our relationships. When we're operating from that egoic place, it totally dictates how we connect with people, and, well, it pretty much guarantees there's going to be conflict.
This quote just nails the whole vibe of an ego-driven relationship, doesn't it? It's not really about love, it's more like a transaction. The ego feels like it has a hole in it, and it's looking for someone else to come along and fill that void, to give it a sense of self. The whole thing is built on neediness.
And this is the inevitable result. You get two people coming together from that place of need, and it's only a matter of time before their pain bodies get triggered.
A tiny little disagreement can suddenly blow up into a massive fight. Why? Because it's not actually about the disagreement anymore. It's about all that old, unresolved pain bubbling up to the surface.
Okay, so if the mind and the ego are the source of the problem, what's the way out? The solution lies in finding what's called the unmanifested. It sounds a bit mysterious, but really it's just a doorway to a much deeper part of who we are, a way to step off that hamster wheel of thinking and reacting.
Now here's the trick. You can't think your way to understanding the unmanifested. It's not a new belief or some complex idea. It's simply the direct experience of pure awareness itself. It's that silent, still space that's there before your next thought pops up. A good way to think of it is like the vast, clear sky behind all the passing clouds of your thoughts. And when you connect with that space, even for a split second, something incredible starts to happen. Your whole sense of who you are begins to change. You stop identifying as this separate little person with a long list of problems. And instead, you have this profound realization. You're not separate from life at all. You are life. So how do we actually get there? It sounds great, but what do we do? Well, here are 3 simple doorways you can walk through. First, start to embrace silence, not just outside, but inside too. Second, find the stillness that's always present in your body. It's a perfect anchor to right now. And third, practice surrender. And that's just a fancy word for fully accepting this moment exactly as it is, without fighting it in your head.
When you start bringing this presence into your day-to-day life, it absolutely transforms your relationships. They stop being a battleground for 2 egos and start becoming a space for real, deep connection and growth.
I mean, just look at the difference here. On one side, you've got the ego's version of a relationship. It's based on need, it lights up the pain body, and it's full of conflict and clinginess. But on the other side, you've got an enlightened relationship. That one is based on presence, it helps you become more aware, it creates room to grow, and it comes from a feeling of being whole already.
The whole dynamic just flips. Instead of asking, "What can you give me?" the question becomes, "Can I just be fully here with you in this moment?" Love stops being a feeling you try to get from someone and starts being a way of being. And imagine this, your partner is no longer responsible for making you happy. What a relief for both of you. And all of this whole inner journey, it leads to something really profound. It leads to a state of being that's beyond the constant up and down of feeling happy one minute and unhappy the next.
Let's just be real for a second. This is how most of us live. Something good happens, we feel happy. Something bad happens, we feel unhappy. Our internal state is basically a puppet, and external events are pulling all the strings, which, as we know, are always changing. But peace is something else entirely. It's so much deeper. It's like the calm at the bottom of the ocean, even when there's a hurricane raging on the surface. It's a stillness inside you that isn't shaken by what's going on outside because it doesn't come from the outside. It comes from your connection to that deeper dimension we've been talking about.
And here is maybe the most important takeaway of all. Life is always going to have challenges. Pain is pretty much guaranteed. Suffering is optional. Suffering is our mind's resistance to what's actually happening. It's the "this shouldn't be happening" story we tell ourselves.
So we'll leave you with this one last question to really ponder. If you could just drop all your mental resistance to this present moment, just for an instant, what would be left? What kind of peace, what kind of stillness is already waiting for you right here and right now?
All right, let's talk about a word we all think we know, but we've probably got it all wrong. We're going to talk about surrender, and I'm going to show you why it might just be the most powerful thing you can do.
So let me just start with this question. What if everything you've ever thought about surrender, that it's about giving up, losing, being weak, what if that's completely backwards? What if it's actually your secret weapon, your greatest strength? And that really gets us to the heart of the problem. The whole reason this idea feels so strange is because surrender is just a profoundly misunderstood power. I mean, the source material just says it flat out, and it's the perfect place to start. That one word, surrender, is just loaded with all this negative baggage. But that's only because we've been using the wrong definition. So let's fix that right now. Okay, this right here, this is probably the most important distinction we're going to make. We have to pull apart the idea of giving up from the true meaning of surrender, which is all about giving in. They sound similar, but they are worlds apart. So look at this. It seems so simple, but it's a huge shift. Over on the left, you've got the misconception. Giving up. That's quitting. That's throwing in the towel. But on the right, you have the reality.
giving in, which kind of begs the question, right? Giving in to what exactly? And there it is. This is our new definition. Surrender is not about resigning yourself to failure. It's about accepting reality. It's the simple, but incredibly hard act of just giving in to what is, to the reality of this present moment. And this isn't just some abstract philosophy. This is for when life gets real. You know those moments. When illness shows up out of nowhere, when you lose someone you love, or when something you poured your soul into completely fails. These are the moments when we tend to fight reality with everything we've got. And this just perfectly captures that battle in our heads. You've got the voice of the ego, the resistance, that's just screaming, this should not be happening. It's basically arguing with gravity. But then you have the voice of presence, of surrender, and it asks a much, much more useful question. Okay, this is what is, so now what? One is a dead end, the other is a starting line. So why is making that mental flip so powerful? Well, it's because it leads you to the clarity of reality. When you finally stop fighting what's right in front of you, you can actually see clearly for the first time. And you can see the path right here. It's a chain reaction. You start with surrender, you accept the facts on the ground. From that acceptance, almost instantly comes clarity. You're not blinded by anger or denial anymore, and it's only from that place of clarity that you can take the right action, the smartest, most effective step forward. And that's the bottom line. Surrender is power. It's not passive. It's an active choice to align yourself with the way things actually are. And look, reality always wins, right? You can either exhaust yourself fighting it, or you can align with it and use its momentum. Now, this whole idea of surrender, it actually leads us to something even bigger, something that might challenge how you see yourself. Let's dive into this idea that you are not your thoughts. Think about it. All those stories you have about your past, your wins, your losses, your mistakes, they're just that. They're stories. They happened, sure, but they're not the essence of who you are in this exact moment. And the same exact thing is true for the future. All your worries, your hopes, your 5-year plans, they're just projections. They exist only in your mind, right now. They aren't actually you. And this is the real kicker. That voice in your head, the one that's constantly chattering away, judging, worrying, analyzing, that's not you either. It's just something that you're aware of. So if you're not your past, not your future, and not even your thoughts, then what in the world are you? And the source gives us this beautiful, totally mind-bending definition. You are the awareness. You are the silent space in which all those thoughts and feelings and memories appear. You're the sky, and all that other stuff is just the weather passing through. And when you start to get a feel for that, it brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of this whole thing, the miracle of right now. So much of our lives, we treat this moment right now like it's just a stepping stone, a hurdle to get over on our way to something better. The weekend, that vacation, retirement. But that's a huge mistake. This moment isn't a dress rehearsal. This is it. This is your life. And you know, the miracle of being alive, of being present, it's not something you have to earn. It's not a reward you get from meditating enough or being good enough. You don't achieve it. You don't earn it. The only thing you have to do is notice it. It's already here. So let's just do that for a second. Just take one single conscious breath, a slow breath in, and all the way out. And as you do that, just feel your body, the weight of it, the sensation of the air on your skin, your feet on the floor. Just notice it. And now just listen. Don't try to hear anything in particular. Just be open to whatever sounds are around you without putting any labels on them. Because in the end, when you truly surrender to what is, you find the most peaceful truth there is. This moment, just as it is completely and totally enough.